Hi, this is Tricia from Business Impact, the premier Target services partner. Here at Business Impact, we use our technical expertise, industry experience, and business savvy to make sense of your data, delivering customized business intelligence solutions so that you can get back to what you do best, running your business.
Today we're going to talk about the changes and improvements that you'll see when moving from Target 2018 to the 2019 version. While most of the features you know and love about Target will continue unchanged, there are some significant changes to how dashboards are designed and displayed. These will have an impact on your consumer users, but especially on your designers. First, let's take a look at what Target consumers need to know. First, I'll be covering changes that apply to consumers, whether they use the desktop client or the Target Anywhere web client. Then we have a few changes specific to consumers of each of those clients, and finally we'll look at changes for designers. The biggest change for consumers has to do with how documents are displayed. Each of your Target 2018 views or reports will become a document in Target 2019. A document may now contain multiple views in different sizes and layouts that will work on different devices. Target will choose a layout to display based on whether the user is on a computer, tablet, or phone. Users can choose a different layout if they wish by going to the Layouts pane here. However, until a designer has created those layouts, all of your existing documents will be converted to a 1600 by 900 pixel size. Let's take a look at this sales dashboard in Target 2018. Notice what happens when I resize the display window. The objects on the screen are placed proportionally, so the dashboard always fills the display window, no matter what size and shape it is. The text in this dashboard stays the same size, no matter what. When the window gets smaller, scroll bars appear. Here's the same dashboard in Target 2019. Watch what happens when I resize the window. Notice that there is blank space around the dashboard because it has retained the same proportions. Text grows or shrinks along with the window, so in some cases it might become too small to read. Target 2019 has added a zoom option, which you can find here in the lower right corner. You can use this to magnify a dashboard, just like zooming in on an image. These other buttons will go into full screen mode, press escape to exit, or fit a view to the window size. In Target 2018, reports were a type of document that worked very differently from views. Going forward, these reports will still be viewable in Target 2019. However, any new reports should be created as separate layouts within a document. Some report functionality will only be available to clients who have an enterprise reporting license. Looking back at our dashboard in the 2018 application, you can see that by default, each object on the dashboard has a title bar above it. Sometimes the designer has chosen to hide this title bar, such as in these KPI objects, but in other cases they've used it to display a meaningful title. Some users may be accustomed to looking here to find the drill out button. When we open this document in Target 2019, there are no more title bars. Users will need to find another way to drill out. You can hover over the object to display a contextual menu. Or you can simply click to deselect a highlighted item, which is probably the most intuitive for users. Let's look at some of the changes in Target Anywhere. On the right, I have a dashboard open in Target 2018, and on the left is the same dashboard in Target 2019. You can see that they look very similar. There are a few stylistic differences. The most important change is that the titles from the title bars are no longer displayed. You've got a new print button that will send your document to a PDF. The drill out looks a little different. It has a line through it instead of an X. And in 2019, we now have the hovering menus. Some commands have been moved. You'll notice that here in 2018, where you have a maximize command in the menu, you only have an icon in 2019. These are all minor differences. The additional functionality of clicking a row to deselect it is available in the web client as well. A minor enhancement that consumers will appreciate in the desktop version is that the export menu that appears when you right-click is a little easier to use. If you export using the ribbon at the top of the screen, all objects on a view will be exported to one Excel document. You can choose Print to export to PDF. Now let's talk about how Target 2019 has changed from a designer's perspective. The first difference you'll encounter is that the process to edit a document has changed. You'll need to build a new habit of clicking this pencil icon every time you want to make a change to a dashboard or report. Once we've done that, we can see that some things have stayed the same, including source data, calculations, most object properties, and agents. But we can also see the biggest new feature of Target 2019, and that is how layouts work. This functionality has been completely redesigned. Instead of the frustrating process of attaching objects within a dashboard to one another, you now will work within a grid layout, giving you much more flexibility as a designer. Page settings are where you can define the size and shape of your grid. This is the first step when you create a new document. By clicking Page Settings in the Design menu, you can also edit the size and shape of an existing layout. Right-click a layout to edit its device visibility. Each type of device should have only one layout selected in the Designed For column. That will become the default layout that loads when that type of device is used. Using the grid is fairly intuitive. You can move an object by dragging from its upper left corner. Resize an object by dragging its border. You'll notice as you are placing your objects that you now have the ability to overlap them. For example, you could superimpose a KPI object or data grid on top of a graph. There is an auto-fit function here for your crosstabs, but I don't suggest you click it until your layout is complete because I haven't found a way to undo it. Each crosstab, visualization, or other object you add to the grid will be given a name. Object 1, 2, 3 by default. You can rename them to something more meaningful. When you do that, you'll easily be able to reuse the objects to create additional layouts. Another option is to duplicate an existing layout. Change the size of the grid, and then rearrange or remove objects. The second significant change in Target 2019 is masquerading as a minor renaming. The feature you used to know as comparisons is now called user dimensions. This brings new opportunities, but also new dangers. Before we take a look at this, let's review the different types of criteria available for designers. Global criteria affect all objects on the screen. Anything placed in the criteria bar is applied globally. Local criteria affect just one object. Local criteria may intersect with global criteria. Required criteria are used to prevent objects from loading data until the viewer has made a selection. And finally, we have user dimensions, which have been moved over to the source data pane. The existing comparisons from your 2018 views have all been loaded as separate user dimensions, which are embedded within each document. You can tell that they are standalone user dimensions by looking at this icon, which shows a dot. If you see a line graph instead, that is a shared user dimension. The most important thing to note here is that if you edit a shared user dimension, it will affect every document in which it has been used. While that might be useful from time to time, it is not how Target 2018 worked, and so it feels too easy to make mistakes. I'll show you a best practice that you can use to avoid inadvertently making widespread changes. Let's drop a shared user dimension into this crosstab. You can right-click and choose Detach from Shared. Target will make a copy of your shared user dimension, and now you can edit it safely without changing any other views. You can now specify when you want an element in your user dimension to ignore any global criteria or user selections. You also have a checkbox where you can allow or prevent users from selecting multiple items from the user dimension. Next, let's look at a simple change: how to replace any titles that you may have displayed in title bars in Target 2018. You can add those titles in the crosstab formatting section. This is also how you can add titles to a graph. Let's finish up by looking at a few small enhancements. You might already be aware that if you save an object in design mode in Target 2018, the data will not automatically load. This works somewhat differently in Target 2019, where you select Open without loading data from the data menu. Then the user is presented with a more coherent message. If you use triggers to link different dashboards together, these will still function in Target 2019. But note that they can only point to documents, not to specific layouts. You also have some new options for triggers. When using triggers, you have a range of options for how criteria should be handled. Saved criteria only means a document will open exactly as it has been saved. Replace means that the global criteria from the document you currently have open will be applied. Merge will apply the intersection of the criteria from both documents. Finally, there is a new export property for objects on a dashboard. You can set the name of the Excel sheet tab or exclude an object from the export entirely. For more information, you can access Target's documentation database using the help link in the upper right corner of your screen. You can also get in touch with your account manager or contact us at our website at www.businessimpactinc.com. We'll be happy to help. Thanks for watching.